Hey everybody, this is Tim Shorts of Gothridge Manor, and tonight I'd like to take you through a walkthrough through my latest micro adventure called Shrine of the Mother and Destroyer. Let me share my screen here because apparently I did this video before and forgot to share the screen. Let's see if that works. There we go. Works better if I check it first. Okay. Um, yeah, I released this yesterday. It's a free PDF on my Patreon. I try to make it as free as for everyone. It's weird. Patreon's changed some of their stuff though a little bit of who I share it with. I think you have to be a member to get it for free, because they just can't make it open to the public and get because it's just they've kind of complicated things. But if you become a free member, you can get it for free. So it's available for you. All right. So the main baddie in this is Dedrigoria. She is the mother and the destroyer. She's one of my 7 death gods because one just won't do. She mainly focuses on like the undead. The last Shadow Dark adventure I released here was called, was Hesta. Hesta is more, she's a goddess of death also, but she deals more with the disease side of it. So each death god has their own speciality, let's say. And I can't remember if I have 5 or 7. I guess I got to take a roll call and redo that. And in this, her faithful are called Ardents. I like to attempt to try to make each group or different god, goddess have their own name for folks who are faithful to their god. So for Sarath, I have like the spears of Sarath, and their big people are called Meridians, their version of paladins. And then for it was Posimius, I have Parsons. For these, I have Ardents for them. And then one of the other things that I really enjoyed about this adventure, I finally got to put a Stingbats, plural, into this adventure. It's the mascot of Shadow Dark. And finally got to use the artwork of Lucas Court there. Really, really cool piece. I wish I would have got one of those stickers. I won't for my back of my computer. And one of the other things too, just as a side note, this is for first level characters for Shadow Dark. Normally, I don't put level requirements, not even requirements, suggestions into it because I like my adventures to be sort of organic. So if a party comes upon them and they're too powerful or underpowered, I like to let it play out as is. I don't usually adjust them, but when I'm writing an adventure for other folks, and I've kind of had to bite my tongue on this one a few times, I should give them a suggestion. I don't know how good I'm at that, but sometimes I tend to skew towards more difficult. But yeah, this is, I think, a good first level adventure, even though you've got like the Mother and Destroyer, which sounds spooky, and then you got the whole death cult thing going on. That's their kind of main opponent in this adventure. But it's a startup death cult. There's the people figuring out, I think, the best description I have up here. In this adventure, we have a startup death cult. They're figuring things out. A collective of NPCs who are desperate for purpose, or at least a better chance to survive the cruel world. I mean, how desperate do you got to be to, join a death cult to better your chances of surviving? Yeah. So, and then the cover art, I'll go back up there, is by Dean Spencer. Love that piece of artwork. The entrance to the is not that extravagant, but I love the piece of art, and we'll just kind of hand wave that. That's what it looks like. That's what it looks like. This is the entrance to the shrine you're looking for. All right, and then then he has an interior piece in here, and then of course the glorious Rick Hershey's artwork graces my pages. Love these guys' artwork, and that this is the first time I've used Lucas. I don't know if I have anything else by him, but Dean and Rick are my go-to guys for artwork for my adventures. All right, and this is where the adventure starts. It starts in Biddleton. It's a halfling thorp nestled into a marsh. Rice is their crop, and they have medicinal plants as a significant side venue type thing. Casa, who runs the place, requests the assistance of the characters, and they need some help with dealing with it. And the way it comes apart, this is just sort of a situation that's occurred. There's no life or death quite here, but I mean, it's one of those things. If you kind of let a death goal get a foothold and get established, then shit gets real fast. With this, if you do it in the beginning, pounce, what is it, an ounce of prevention kind of deal? Well, you guys are the party's supposedly the ounce of prevention in this. And when I write these adventures, and I'm sure pretty much majority of adventures that are written, we're going in assuming that the party is going to be benefactors, or some sort of not going with malicious intent. Now, that doesn't mean a party can't go in and help, but then kind of twist it, manipulate the situation so they get a little bit more out of it than normally thought. I love when players do that, find an opportunity and exploit it. I'm all for that. But this adventure is written like the party wants to help these guys. And then the Quentin, who was the one that was almost captured by them. Now, the way it starts out is they started seeing people to the north, humans, and they don't see humans in this area too much. It's mainly a out of the way halfling area. And then they started seeing humans. They weren't being bothered by them. And then not too long ago, they tried to grab Quentin. Quentin tells them that there's a woman who wore a half skull on her head, pulled out a bloody thing of her pouch, and said some strange words. It burst into flames, and then she screamed. In this case, spell mishaps aren't just good for PCs; they're also good for NPCs. Just a little flavor in there to show maybe a little bit of even their, I guess, leader person kind of person is maybe not as competent as thought or could be. And then he kind of gives them more information. They're armed with daggers. They're thin and eyes wide, and that comes up a lot in this because the Ardents, like I described in the beginning, they're pretty desperate. But a GM or a party could definitely use the situation in their favor, whereas they could talk to. I mean, if you're coming in there, if you get this big ass fighter, balls to the wall, armored and armed and looking like Hulk Jr. or something like that, they're going to listen to what he has to say. So maybe if he kind of suggests they should run or maybe join that more, start working with them. They may consider it because they are desperate people looking for options and everything. So this will come up a couple times throughout the adventure. And then Casa, while they don't have a lot of money, she will offer the party medicinal herbs that they do gather in the marsh. And these can be made into real healing potions. Not my Hugo healing potions that are kind of notorious through my campaign, but, actual healing potions. And then I just go through a thing with my notes, first part, I say about 4. I think 4 would be still a little bit challenged because there's going to be a few parts in here where it will be challenging even for 4 first level characters. But I go into that I have a silver standard, so that's why all the prices are in silver, and then the hard silver coins are worth 20 silver each. All right, into the next part. There's that glorious piece of artwork by what's his name? Luke? Is it Lucas? Yep, Lucas Court. Yep. Yeah, sting bat. Love that picture. Such nice details. So I go into a little bit of detail about the, Biddleton, and it can definitely, I think you have enough flavor in there that someone could just run with it. I think I'm going to probably flesh it out a little bit more. Might do that for a different micro location that I do. Just do the Thorpe of Biddleton. That'd be kind of cool now that I think of it. And then we go to so we're going into the hex locations. Let me show you the hex map. I have it the way it's laid out. Yeah, I'm going to turn this off right now. I'm going to show you this, guys. There we go. All right. My camera's here. I'm looking over here. All right, so I can see my head. So this is the printed out version. And then, so when you're looking at this, it's sort of in kind of, I don't know, control panel. So that's, I use the inside cover and that for the first page. I could probably do the things so the things aren't backwards, but I don't know how to do that right now. And then, let's see. Can I do that? Video. This is what you guys want to see. Oh, non-mirror. All right. There we go. Cool, cool. Whoops. So you can kind of see that, but then when we get into the page I'm about to describe on here. So what? Just real quick, cardstock outside, and then there's just one piece of paper folded in half. So it's 8 pages long, and then it has, one page is the cover. So when you look at all the hex stuff, is in one area here. So there are the maps right here, and then everything else is right there. So that way you can take a look at it. Now let me go share this so you guys can see it better besides me throwing it up there. Okay, share. There we go. All right, so that's what it looks like. So you got Biddleton at the bottom, and then where the shrine is. What I do for these guys is I have a hex flower template that I use that does the hexes itself. I think I got it from Paul over at Fire Forge. I think he got it from one of his things. And then I go on this map icon site. I forgot where it's at, but I grab these little icons and they work fantastic for this kind of thing. And then add the names to it. So as you can see, it's fairly brief and simple, but I think it does add a lot of flavor, and I'll go through it. So Biddleton, there's no shops there. So no shopping for you, Joe. He's out. He's not going to help anybody. And then, okay, so in one of the next ones is the camp. We're going to click over to that real quick. Camp's just north, okay? So there's where Kuvo lives. Kuvo's a weird name. I thought about changing that, but I guess I didn't. I like to use names that are easier to pronounce. I guess I failed on that one, Kuvo, because I have to think about it. Anyways, so you got 4 men and a woman wearing a half skull, have a camp a mile north of Biddleton. They need a halfling to consecrate the temple. Now that's where the first hint of the consecration of the temple, or the shrine, shrine comes up. And that's sort of the whole goal of this cult right now. They want to grab one of these damn little halflings, to sit still long enough so they can stab them a few times, have some blood on some up in the shrine, and then it can become consecrated. And once it becomes consecrated, then they can start making. Then they can start. Maybe a few of the ardents will start gaining clerical powers or priest powers in this case. So, it is pretty critical right now. Like in the beginning, everybody's in a very weakened state. We got a 2nd level wizard. She's the one who tried to cast her burning hands and failed, critically failed. I must have rolled for her and that. And then you have the ardents. The ardents are very, they have an AC of 10, 2 hit points. So they're kind of just at minion base. 1 hit will pretty much kill these guys, kind of deal. So, so you have that. And then you go up to Charn. Now, Charn is the ruins that Casa will tell you about in Biddleton, because she thinks that the cult is either in Charn, the ruins, or up here at the shrine. So, or at the hills. She doesn't know there's a shrine up there. She just thinks they're somewhere in the hills. So it's up to the party to, kind of decide where they're going to go. All right. Now, Charn has the skeletal bones of 14 stone yurts. Now, I love my yurts. I'll put yurts into anything. I don't know. I'm a yurt kind of dude. I like them. But the yurts are all collapsed. Within 2 of the yurts are stingbat nests. Here we go, stingbats. Team stingbat, yeah. There are 4 in each. This is one of those places where they could wreck the party pretty quick. They're not a powerful monster, but man, one of them gets a beak in your mage, he is toast. I mean, 1 to 4 to start off with, and then an automatic hit after that. You are done. You're done. And then just for a little taste, a little reward. I like doing this. Just a little thing. The yurts are all it has a waterlogged tome, but hidden within it is a scroll of detect magic and a wooden ring with a knot pattern carved into it. It is a traditional halfling wedding ring. I like adding those little cultural details too. It's not a lot, but that kind of thing, I think, just that small detail helps make your little areas alive. Is it a high money value? No, but say you bring back that ring to that the Biddleton, maybe one of the halflings will buy it for a little something, and or maybe it was a long lost relic of grandma bread loaf or whatever. I don't know. All right, and then we have. Now I did these in alphabetical order. I did not do these in things. So we jump from there, Biddleton to Churn. Now we're going down to the crops, or can't up, then down to crops. So this is where the rice is at. Now if the players go through here, the nice thing is it's useful to go through there. Because if they do, they'll find 2 halflings on watch. They got some slings and torches. So maybe if the party forgot some torches, they can give them some torches. But they also warn the party of the sting bats in Chard. So they can say, hey, you're going up there. Well, be careful of sting bats, Their bites are more than itchy. So it's good can be very useful, life-saving kind of information. All right, now we just kind of have an overview of the Gorian Marsh. And its biggest danger is sting bats. So these are independent sting bats. These are not part of the sting bat, so you don't have to count them against them. But this will kind of keeps the party hustled on, keeps a little danger element. And if you're going through the marsh and you roll a 1, boom, 2d4 sting bats can try to wreck your world. And then there's several medicinal plants that grow within the marsh. So that's what I was talking about. The nice thing about this again, adds another ecology element to the adventure, small detail, but it makes things, gives it depth the little touches that I think micro adventures need to make them feel larger than what's on the pages. So then the Polinium Hills, they have low vegetation, and this was like an old mining area for the halflings back in the day, and they have these little small round shaped size holes. I don't know if you guys ever have seen this, but Google this. I can't remember what the location is in Australia. I've watched a TV show called, I think it was Opal Hunters or something like that. And it's down in Australia, and that whole freaking landscape is just filled with all these holes in the ground. How freaking terrifying it must be, because I don't know how deep they are, but you don't want to fall in one. But that's the way I kind of imagine these Polinium Hills, that the halflings went opal hunting or whatever they were looking for, and there's just these little round holes everywhere that they're mining out these precious gemstones. But the big hill that's the one that has the shrine inside of it, and it has a completely different entrance to the rest of them. So now we're going to kick over now we're going into the dungeon part. So that ends the crawl, the hex crawl, and then we go into here. This is what the dungeon looks like. It's one of my little maps that I like to draw. Just 6 encounter areas. So, all right. So this is where I try to add a little bit more details too. It's like they have the while the other entrances are round and smallish, this entrance is built to allow taller folks to walk in without hunching over. The reinforcements at the entrance look human-made, weathered and beaten wooden planks. There are holes in the crossbeam indicating it may have once held a sign. Why I put that detail in, I don't know. I just put it in there. Sometimes I'll put in these details, and I have to take them out for space and that. But when they allow me to maybe give a little bit more texture to the scene, I'll definitely keep them in there. And then here, this is a Easter egg of mine, the dented helm. I put dented helms in my adventures a lot, and usually they're in stairwells. Don't know why, just I've always done it, and now I kind of look forward to doing it too. Um, so yeah, so that's that little Easter egg for that. And then pretty much you're headed right into number two is the shrine. You're walking right into it. You walk down the steps and boom, you're in the shrine. You don't have to. I don't think the big thing really. I mean, this isn't the end, but the very important thing is right there. Players might not know it yet, but um, they probably will by the end of the adventure. So in there's basically four ardents, or is it three ardents there, and they're cleaning up. They're basically, they're the getting the debris out of there, making it shiny, spit polishing and everything. And in the back, as you can see, there's a big star with a circle around it. For all us old timers, we know exactly what that is. For you youngins, you probably know what it is too. It's like the map symbol for dungeon map symbol for a statue. I think on regular maps it's sort of like the capital of somebody. But anyways, so they're there with they basically have brooms and daggers. So they're gonna, so the party can decide how they're going to react to these guys, whether they're going to go in and start arterial spray all over the place or whatever, because they're not going to be much of a combatant. But you never know. If one of these ardents gets a 20 and they roll 2d4, that'll even take down, it could take down a fighter, a well-armed fighter. So there's always that. So the big feature in here, of course, is a statue. It's a 10-foot tall statue, and it's of a female with 4 arms. My Dedrigoria came about from inspiration from Kali, the goddess from Hindu mythology. And I kind of play a little homage to her with the multiple arms, although I believe she has like 8 arms, but I just cut it down to 4, just because. And then the wood has the slightest tint of blue remaining, just to kind of hint, because all the pictures I've seen of her, she was blue skinned. So that's kind of dedicated to her. Now the statue is critical to the sanctification of the shrine. Say the party goes over there and just hacks the shit, just destroys the statue, which wouldn't take too much, makes firewood out of it. Basically, that ends their ability at this moment to sanctify the shrine. Will the players know that? No, but it will definitely cause a lot of issues, and it'll delay the death cult from, flourishing and becoming an issue. All right, now in number 3 here, that's my little cave-in, little rocks, cave-in. You got this guy, Ashura. Ashura is just a nasty-ass little thief. He's waiting he's hiding there. What is he, 3rd level? Yeah, he's a 3rd level thief. So basically, he's using his stealth ability, to hide in the debris, and then he's going to jump out on somebody and stab him in the back. Probably not a goblin, because goblins are never surprised. Stupid little goblins. Man, you never think that kind of thing is that nasty, but boy, it is. Anyways, he gets out and does stabbies. So he could really do some end one of the. So right here, so you've got this guy here who could make one of the characters assume room temperature really fast. He's got a few little items on there, and the players could capture him the way I see it. I don't put any details on it. I want the GM to play him the way they want to play him, but I kind of see him more of a fanatic. He's a death cult. He's sort of like maybe an assassin wannabe kind of guy. All right. And then we go to this other page here, and then we're in 4. So we're down here, guys. Hopefully you can see that. Yep, I see it. Okay, so this is skeletons and storage. Basically, this door is locked, and there's, how many skeletons are in there? Is there 5? 5 skeletons. Some pretty significant amount, but the players could probably bottleneck them in the hallway, so they're not fighting them all at once. And this is just kind of shows you a little what I find funny. So the lead guy's name's Druga. Druga Smock. He is the angry dwarf who's trying to sanctify this place. You'll find out that he's far from perfect, but he has a ring of Dedragoria. So basically, he's got these skeletons saved in there because once he sanctifies the place, he knows he'll be able to use the ring of Dedragoria and control some undead. What he doesn't know is it's limited to what level he is. So there's 5 skeletons in there, and he's only 2nd level, so the other 3 would attack him. He doesn't know that though, so that's a surprise for later for him. All right, so then we go into 5, which is where Druga's at. So he's there. You hear some voices in there. You see a dwarf. He stands at a table with various artifacts upon it, and 2 other humans listening to him and taking notes. Druga's the leader, and he possesses the Ring of Dedragoria. That led him here. The humans are ardent, making sure what needs to get done. So, along with sanctification of the shrine, they need the statue, they need a sacrifice, and then they need the accoutrements. I think I'm saying that right. If I'm not, I did my best. Accoutrements. I'm saying it fancy. That goes with it. And they need around 250. So in the notes, it says the notes is a list of things needed. There are 250 silver pieces worth of things, and I don't define them. I figure they'll figure it out. The artifacts that are on the table are accoutrements that are worth 2 silver pieces. So they only need 248 silver pieces to go. Druga, he has a whopping 13 silver pieces to his name, so he's not going to be buying. He's not going to Spencer's and buying himself like a Dedragoria tapestry that'll fall apart in the dryer or anything like that. He's going to have to figure some stuff out. But here's the ironic thing. So up here, the way I draw my maps is I draw it just like it's a normal, like for secret doors, I just have the room on the other side, but then the wall just kind of looks in there. So when you're playing online and you're revealing an area, hopefully you don't have like that S sticking out of the wall. There's probably a better way, because I know some people do the gap in between that hides them, and I sometimes do that, but for this one I didn't do that. But so it's a secret room. He hasn't even found it. And here's another thing that Druga, just not the smartest dude in the world. So Druga hasn't found this room. And then within it are the well-preserved accoutrements to Dedragoria. There's 2 hard silver ceremonial daggers, so that's 100 silver pieces, 50 silver pieces each, in a copper bowl, where it's 10, what I call a blood bowl, not the football kind. So right there's 110 silver pieces with accoutrements right available for him, and then there's an additional 163 silver pieces within there. So he could go out to Spencer's now and buy that shitty tapestry of Dedragoria, and put it up. And if they do that, and I don't have like an epilogue or anything like that because I never know what they're going to play, but in my campaign, if they leave this alone and they don't solve this problem, they will eventually find. I'm going to say they eventually find that, and they eventually get the death cult running, and then all of a sudden you got these 1st level clerics popping out of there. A few of the ardents become priests, and all of a sudden things start looking pretty bad for Biddleton, and they might not get their medicinal herbs anymore, or they're right, just bad things will happen for them. So, but that's everything, guys. That's my little adventure. So I have 1 magic item, and that's the Ring of Dedragoria, which I've already discussed. And the way I do this magic ring, because there's always a lot for magic rings or magic stuff, I always kind of, do I want to say it's a skewed perception of it? Maybe I do, but if the person who wears it gains the favor of Dedragoria, they can control a number of undead hit dice equal to their level. The Drugoria, that means you have to start following her, become, involved with the ritual. So you basically have to join the death cult for this ring to work for you. Otherwise, it's just sort of a kind of a useless ring. It doesn't really do anything. Yeah, so that's my first level adventure, guys. I think 8 pages. I got a lot in there. It's for Shadow Dark. Easily could be my next favorite system is Old School Essentials and White Box. All the old school stuff. I always like that kind of thing. Easily transferable to that. So with that, gentlemen, I'm going to leave you, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to leave you with Dean Spencer's beautiful cover. And I'm going to say good night to you, and thanks for joining me. Appreciate it.